Hey guys, welcome to Traditional Bow Hunting Wilderness Podcast. This is Jason Semkovic. Today I'm going to give you 3 tips on making it where you miss and wound less animals and better odds of actually connecting on animals you're shooting at. Number one thing that you're going to want to do is you are going to want to practice all of your shooting scenarios you're going to be in. Okay, most of us will go to the range like this and we're just going to draw and shoot, draw and shoot, draw and shoot, draw and shoot. We may vary the distance, but we're going to stand here and draw and shoot. Okay, we need to practice all of the different scenarios that can come into play. I hunt hogs mostly now. I mean, I deer hunt during deer season, but I got year-round hog possibilities where I'm stalking. I have to practice being on my knees with my bow horizontal and shooting that way. I practice that a lot. You need to be able to practice. If the deer are coming in, you're expecting them to be here, and they come and all of a sudden they start moving, you can't just start jumping around on your stand and stomping, knocking mud down to the ground and turn to get them, shoot them here to keep your body in this position. Okay, but when you make that turn and you go to shoot, you're going to not, I mean, this shot is hard and you have less arrow, you have less draw length involved, and it's going to matter. Look at my draw length when I'm here on this side. Watch, see how much arrow's hanging off the end of my bow for this perfect side shot we got right here. Okay, now watch when I turn this way and I try it here. Okay, big difference. Okay, I just did a video on that actually, but there's a huge difference there. Okay, that stuff, so this shot needs to be practiced. You know, this is good, but you need to practice being able to make this shot here too and make that turn. You need to practice shooting from elevated positions. If you're going to be hunting from a stand, practice from a tree stand. I mean, there's no two ways about it. Sorry, Nat went right in my eye. But it's important that you practice that way so you're good for it. Practice, you know, shooting behind you. So if, again, same thing. If you're here and that deer comes in behind you, can you take that shot this way? This one's usually not too bad. But if you're standing this way, even a shot in front of you is a lot trickier. Get those practice techniques in so that you're practicing the way you're shooting and the way you're going to hunt. Number one. Number two, practice with your hunting clothes on, with your thick, hang on, I gotta hit the button on this for charging here. There we go. You gotta practice with your hunting clothes on, and that doesn't mean come out here again and shoot 3 or 4 arrows, perfect setup, just like you always do, okay? That's garbage. Again, can you do this shot turned and shooting here and not snag on your binoculars that are hanging on you or not catch your sleeve? Can you do this shot where you're going to turn and take that shot there and not snag? If you're a vertical shooter, can you shoot this way and not get hooked up on your boots or on your pants that you're wearing or your cargo pocket, you know, that's on here, or, you know, anything that you have on in your clothing wise? With your harness attachments and stuff, can you move? You need to practice wearing what you're going to hunt in. Does the bill of your hat get in the way? I see all these guys all the time take their hat and turn it around. I don't have time for that. Sorry, more power to you, but I don't have time for that. You know, deer come running in. I don't have time to turn my hat around and do all this movement. I'm going to buy a hat that doesn't interfere with me when I shoot. That's what I'm going to do. There is no turn my hat. I don't mess with any of that kind of stuff. I make sure my gear works for me all the time in all conditions. That's the key takeaway here, is to do that. So practice all the positions you're possibly going to hunt in. Practice in the hunting clothes that you're going to hunt in. And the third one, the most important one, sweet, simple, and easy. Bring it closer. Get your distances closer. Okay, we are, well, camera's at 18, so I'm about 17 yards from there. Okay, you start getting back here. I mean, you start getting back into these distances here where we're even at 20. Okay, I have my marker here. I am standing at 20 yards to those targets right here. That's 20 yards to those targets. Do you realize how long it takes an arrow to get there and how many things can go wrong? Do this is the number one way to make sure that you keep your animals, you know, that you put more of them in the freezer and spend less time blood trailing and tracking all night long and calling in dogs and all that kind of stuff. Bring your shots in closer. Plain and simple. My maximum shooting distance is 20 yards. I will not shoot at an animal farther than 20 yards. The reason I say 20 is because if I'm misjudging because of a hillside or something and he's at 23, I know I can still make that real well. But if I say I'll extend out to 23, he might actually be at 25, and that's unacceptable for me. I make a maximum distance of 20 yards. Okay, and in 170 or so deer that I have killed, I would say my average on that is probably about 10 yards. I kill a ton of them at 8, ton of them at 9, a ton of them at 10, a ton of them at 11, a ton of them at 12, a ton of them at 15, maybe 20 of them in, you know, between 15 and 20, and maybe 5 or 8 over 20. Most of them are in tight. Why? Because I set up for this shot. Why do I set up for this shot? The failure rate on this shot is non-existent. Well, I shouldn't say that because I've missed a lot of deer at this range. But point being, my odds are tremendously in my favor. So that's your 3 things. Practice all your different shooting angles. Practice wearing the clothes that you're going to hunt from and you're going to wear when you're out there hunting. And then I'm going to throw in a bonus number 4 for you. That is practice with your broadheads. Okay? This is going to put a whole different perspective on the end of that arrow. When you take and you're out here all the time and you are practicing and you got your field tip on and you're drawing it, this is that sight picture that I see. Okay? Right there's my sight picture. Fine, dandy, and perfect. But then when I put a broadhead on, this becomes my sight picture that I see now, and that is a whole different world. Okay, people tell me, oh, run them vertical and then that disappears. That don't disappear. I can see that blade plain as day. It bothers me. It's in my way. There, it's pretty much gone. It's not in my way. Here, it's in my way. I don't like it. I shoot it horizontal and it's basically out of my way. But is a psychological aspect to having a broadhead on the end of your arrow that impacts a lot of people. Also, having a broadhead on the end of your arrow can impact the flight, the trajectory, the flight, and the impact point of your arrow. So practice with your broadheads as well too. So there's 3 tips for you on how to, you know, be more successful with your traditional gear this year. Thanks for watching.